Hello, everyone, and welcome to Anti-Life Reviews. We're on episode 61. Do you believe that? I do. I am, of course, Lieutenant Mackay, a master of minds and men. This week we finish up looking at the Elric maxi series entitled Elric, The Balance Lost from Boom Studios. I don't think I said that last week, but it is from Boom Studios. We'll be talking about them more. We look at issues 5 through 12 today. That ran from November 2011 to June 2012. And I'll start off pretty strongly. Can I keep up that pace? Or, like so many of my reviews, will the second part let me down, be disappointing, and make me rant? Seems to be a rather frequent issue I come across, so let's find out. Of course, before we begin, it's my goal to continue to improve this channel, and I think I'm moving in the right direction, and I know you do as well, so please hit subscribe. If I can get to goddamn 100 people, that's it. I can get my own custom URL. So let's make that happen. You have a bunch of subscriptions, I know you do, of people you don't listen to anyways, so why not make me another one of those? You don't have to listen to me at all, but you should. Jackass. All right, writers and artists on this. The writer on this for all issues is Chris Robertson, a Kevin J. Anderson style sci-fi author. And what I mean by that is he writes a lot of existing IPs, which is just fine. There's nothing wrong with that. He worked on books about Star Trek, the X-Men, Shark Boy and Lava Girl, as well as various comics, including an absolute ton of Hellboy, which is a good sign, and one-off issues and a lot of other stuff. The artist on this is Francesco Biagani. I'm sure I butchered his name. I'm sorry, Francisco. An artist I really like. He has this raw, visceral style. I know him from Morrison's 18 Days, and I actually follow him on Instagram. I'm sure he follows me under Demon Peaks. Everyone loves my Twin Peaks memes. This is a good book for him, and he's been consistent thus far. Elric, The Balance Lost, issue 5. I want to say I'm really disappointed in the trades I'm reading for this. The first trade, which covered the first 4 issues, had nice big pages showing all of the covers off in the back of each issue. This one has tiny little pictures, like quarter-sized ones. Really a cheap move. That's why there are no covers this video, to my disappointment. I could have easily found them online, but I want people to know that if they buy the second or third trades, you will not get the full experience. This may seem like a strange nitpick, but frankly, why do companies like this sell all these extra covers? To make more money, to entice people. Then why not put them in the trades, or buying the trades, or don't sell the trades at all, if you're so picky about it. You've paid the artists. You want people to buy stuff like this. Why not make sure they're getting their worth? It smacks of cheapness for me, and I don't particularly care for it. If you're going to have 30 covers of something, and then you make a trade, put the covers in there. People want to see that. That's part of the reason they're buying the trade. Besides that, I'll be splitting each issue into respective characters like I did last time. Since they are doubled up now, since reality is breaking down, I'll be giving you them as pairs, the pairs they are presented at, of course. But for reference sake, here are the main characters you'll be seeing. Elric of Melniboné, Eric Beck, Dorian Hawk Moon, and Corin Jahil Israel. All aspects of the Eternal Champion. Essentially the same person, sort of reincarnated, it's not the right word, but it's what I'm going to use, in different realities, and that reality is now breaking down. We see the evil guys are still playing their chess game, I guess, with pieces such as Elric. Elric and Dorian Hawk Moon. Elric, well, he knows Dorian. They met in the Sailor on the Seas of Fate, an early Elric novel by Mr. Michael Moorcock. So they know each other. They are facing down the giant fly god. The fly god apes Mr. Mind from the end of 52 and decides he's going to lay some eggs and eat the entire universe. Turns out having lords of the higher world, such as the fly god, appear affects chaos and order, which is why everything is wackadoo. Eric and Corum, they deal with the fascists and Eric's brother and evil natives, but the bad guys call upon a fleet of the Singularity, evil aliens that will destroy the universe at some point. Both teams figure out where the enemy will eventually strike, heart of the multiverse, a place that serves nigh chaos nor law, the city of Tanlorn. There's a lot of action, short and sweet. Art is still serviceable. The story, I still enjoy the duality of it all. Even though they're tag teams, they still reflect each other's stories. New sets of universes destroying bad guys that shouldn't be here. We all know where they're headed. We have a focus. In Tanlorn, we see the statue from The Exorcist, amongst other pop culture things, but that one is my favorite. Elric, The Balance Lost, Issue 6. We get some cool flashes of the various people from Michael Moorcock's novel, people from The End of Time, which is a series of books. I think Steve Allett even did one, Rebel at the End of Time. We see people from the Circle Square Ranch, and of course, Jerry Cornelius, probably outside of Elric, is Michael Moorcock's most famous character. Just cool to see that. To Eric and Coram, they find the giant-ass horse and head off to Tanlorn. And Elric and Dorian fight through hordes of enemies that were once people. Interesting to see the dynamic here as Dorian has no want to kill these mutated people, but must, and Elric's Stormbringer lust for blood and souls for his master Aroch, Lord of Chaos. They need to reach Tanlorn and will use Dorian's Zord to do it. This is sort of where the series converges. Both teams reach Tanlorn. They find their prospective enemies already attacking. Now, while this might seem like a simple issue, there are lots of interesting discussions about the nature of chaos, order, gods, demons, and where Tanlorn actually is. See, it exists as one place no matter where you come from in the multiverse, which means that both teams are attacking from opposite ends, setting up that they will eventually fight each other due to miscommunication. We learn about Korn's world. He made a deal with a lost god to be rid of the chaos gods, but that lost god slew the other ones of order as well, freeing his planet from the higher dimension. Another solid issue. These issues are really breezy. They mix some action with plot. Don't let anything linger too much. There was a lot more exposition than the last few, which isn't thrilling, but it wasn't boring. The art, however, took a little bit of a sink in this one. Elric, The Balance Lost, Issue 7. Going to Elric and Dorian. Dorian's Zord is downed, and these two begin the heavy assault against the Fly God and its hordes. Elric, allowing Stormbringer to take control, begins his bloodlust. Dorian and the head Fly Priest get a cool fight together. Eric and Coram. They also join the fight, with Eric once again fighting his brother, but the brother gets away when Eric comes to blows with Elric, which only lasted 1 second. Like one panel, literally. The enemies begin fighting each other, and the 4 aspects of the Eternal Champion decide to work together. Meh. Another Eric brother fight that ends in nowhere. The fight between Eric and Elric lasted 1 panel, like I said. I'm hoping they would come to blows with something more substantial, like the old Marvel trope. You know what I mean? So it's a mediocre issue, and it's beginning to look like this issue has a lot of padding on it that might not need. Maybe 10 issues would have done this story better. Elric, The Balance Lost, Issue 8. Eternal Champions secure the gate and enter Tanlorn. Elric comes face to face with his friend Spirits again, who explains what is happening. An outside force is causing this. We know. And they are quite literally trying to destroy the balance. And I don't mean some metaphorical balance. I mean there is a giant literal balance they're trying to destroy. Like it's just a big giant whatever. Who's doing that? Who knows? Team have the weapons to handle it. Sword, staff, shield, and horn. How very Lord of the Rings. They then get on an Eldric spacecraft whose captain is Billy Bob, a gothic chick with neon tattoos, and they are off. We get a vague idea of what Tanlorn is, a place where balance and creation is worship, a place of retired warriors, old soldiers, veterans of 1,000 Pyrrhic wars or psychic wars. They will defend the place while these guys go and do something. A giant balance. Jesus, who's the bad guy? If by 8 issues I don't know who the bad guy is, and there's no even hint of it, I don't really care. It'll probably be Atroc, Chaos Lord, as it was the evil person in the later original Elric novels. This decompression of writing is really getting to me. I'm getting bored with each passing issue. If you don't know what decompression in comics is, I will be explaining it in my overview. Boring. A big-ass balance. A big-ass balance. Wow. A literal physical balance. Elric, The Balance Lost, 9. It gives a new credence to the title, The Balance Lost. It's not some sort of metaphorical or psychological or philosophical idea. It really means that there's a big-ass balance that's lost. In the third trade, the cover gallery has returned. Good job, folks. They become much less bombastic. They become tired. Boom Studios has had this problem before, and I'll talk about that in my overview. We learn a lot about this ship, which I will not recount because it's not important. The rest of the time, people try to sleep or meditate. Elric and Stormbringer have an argument, as couples are wont to do. The ship is attacked by space worms. Billy pushes them back with her magic guitar. They then reach their destination, and we see the lost gods, exiles from a previous universe, are the mastermind behind all of this, and the balance is physically destroyed. Great art in this issue. The reality, just the vistas of realities are really cool. The space worms are cool. All very nice to look at. Vibrant and otherworldly. Ship can fold realities, and there are worms. Thanks, Dune. I guess the ship stuff was okay. I'm pretty annoyed by this whole issue. Besides that, another issue of really nothing happening. It looked pretty, but I'm getting fairly bored by this whole series now. And now we get the big reveal of bad guys that, we heard about one brief time earlier, but why are they bad guys? We're going to get into that, but it's not that interesting. By issue 10, we don't even really know anything about the bad guys. Elric, the Balance Lost, issue 10. The two lost gods want to fight each other, but they can't. So they decide to use the multiverse to play games against each other. One is law, one is chaos. They bring the bad guy armies that are attacking Tanlorn to this planet, wherever they're at, to fight. Elric calls for wars at the edge of time who represent balance. This entire issue is exposition just to say what I said in a sentence or two. So much padding. Isn't it great that these warriors had to take a giant Elric spaceship across the multiverse to get here? If they just stayed where they were, they would have been teleported here anyways. Like, what a waste of time. I mean, why were they attacking Tanlorn anyways? If they just wanted order and chaos to fight with each other, what does Tanlorn have to do with it? I don't understand. So they had a whole issue where they traveled to this planet, and then they just teleport everyone that was already there here. I'm way past boredom on this. I'm starting to dislike this series. That was so stupid. Elric, the Balance Lost, issue 11. Elric has summoned the warriors at the edge of time. They go into battle as the lost gods keep summoning more powerful beings from across the multiverse, monsters, gods, aliens, etc., to fight each other and these new balanced warriors. The four eternal champions put all their magic artifacts together. Blade, horn, shield, staff begins to magically fix the balance. One of the lost gods walks over and punches the balance, and it breaks again. Eric, Dorian, and Corum join into one being to fight the lost gods. Like, they get supersized and do like Bandora or Rita through a staff. They could do this the whole time. And Eric fights his brother again. Let's turn from an Elric story to a Super Sentai story real quick. Like, this issue solidified it. Strange side stories, growing and shrinking. We had Zords. I'm a huge fan of those respective brands, the Power Rangers, Super Sentai. I love Super Sentai more than an adult should, but it doesn't work here. The plot doesn't work. It doesn't land. It makes little to no sense. The thing with the magic objects was stupid. They could meld together and do this anytime, and they didn't do it earlier. I'm sick of Eric and his brother fighting. This is like the fourth or fifth time we've seen it, and I do not care about it. And frankly, I don't care about this comic either. Elric, The Balance Lost, issue 12, last issue of the series, thank God. They attempt some more callbacks, Michael Moorcock stuff, but I'm not bothered with it at this point. We have a big fight between everyone. The Lost Gods are winning against the Eternal Champions, Kaiju form, while Eric and his brother fight. We get the cliched, they both stab each other, then Eric forgives his brother. Oh boy, and they become one being in symmetry. This, of course, fixes everything. The balance is fixed. Lost Gods leave. They are not defeated, they just leave. Eric and his brother are gone, and everyone else returns to the realities. Dorian getting to be with his family. Corum returning with renewed vigor to protect his people, and Elric alone in darkness as his sword calls for blood and swords. Everyone's ending was kind of nice, but this overall issue read like something Grant Morrison could have farted out in less than 5 minutes, frankly. Let's just get to my overview. I'm done. Okay, overview. Let's talk about Boom Studios first. This relates to my exact problem with this comic. Boom is not a bad company. In fact, they do lots of interesting comics. They do lots of licensed media. Buffy, Adventure Time, Die Hard, Do Angels Dream of Electric Sheep, etc., etc. In the same token, they are known for their exceptionally long-winded bloating of the same material. They suffer from decompression syndrome heavily. Decompression is the act of writing comics for the eventual publication in trade paperbacks. So each issue is relatively low on content, but when read as a whole is actually telling a story. Brian Michael Bendis is notorious for doing this and sort of making it famous, and Boom has seemingly made a career out of it. Do we need a 16-issue run retelling a story of escape to New York? No. That's not bashing the company. Their Power Rangers comics are awesome. Irredeemable was great. They do lots of good, or they also do lots of stuff like this. They dread everything to an annoying level. They certainly did it with this. By the end, this could have been easily a 6-issue comic run retelling the story of some Eternal Champions. I wouldn't even call this Elric, as he was a bit character in the story. Call it the Eternal Champions Power Rangers Go-Go crossover. Started very promising, very interesting, but it evolved into something I grew to be bored by, to dislike, and so cliche. Too cliche for its own good. Michael Moorcock is known to subvert expectations in a lot of ways, as well as playing into notable tropes to make his stories dynamic. This wasn't dynamic. This was crap. The art was hit or miss too, to be honest with you. I was going to read the Marvel graphic novel, Elric the Dreaming City, and I genuinely regret not doing that. This was a big miss for me. The Conan stuff from last week was fantastic. Well, that was the ending and resolution, I suppose, of Elric the Balance Lost. What do you think of my review? Do you feel like this could have been cut down? Do you feel decompression in comics to be an issue, or do you not care? Do you usually read in trade, or do you read comics regularly at all? Do you read them online? Let me know down below. I'm actually curious. Also, hit my page and let me know what you want me to review. I keep a totally open mind. I'm willing to consider just about anything. Also, follow me on Instagram for daily Twin Peaks memes. And don't forget to hit up my podcast, the Dark Peaks Podcast, with me and another Instagram guy talk about stuff, mostly. Next week, I look at something good by someone good as I take a look at Neil Gaiman's The Eternals. This has been the Tony Micaiah, Master of Minds and Men. Thank you very much, and goodbye.